So who are Bears Who Care and Friends of Bears? I would like to share a little bit of information about how we got started and not just exactly who we are right now, but why who we are is such an extraordinarily and inspiring thing. In this past semester, UNC had decided to make some cuts to faculty positions as well as to some programs. And the initial message that got sent out was that this was going to be happening campus-wide. It turns out that it was not happening campus-wide, and on top of that, that there was no transparency about the criteria being applied for these cuts. There wasn't much consistency, and there were many other ways in which a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability was fostering a growing unrest and mistrust, both from faculty and students. And so on March 30th, a group of 5 students and myself had dinner and decided that we were going to do something, even if it was just the 6 of us doing whatever little we could to bring attention to this and not go down without a little bit of a fight. At the time, I had read this proverb that said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, sleep with a mosquito in your tent. And so our thought was, we might be small, but we will be mighty, and we will certainly bring some attention and discomfort to the administration to maybe press them into taking some accountability and offering some transparent and collaborative information about how these decisions have been processed. So we got together for dinner and we decided to have a rally, and we literally picked the very next day in which we didn't see a lot of wind in the forecast and it was a nice sunny day, and that would be April 8th. On April 1st, the day after we had dinner, some of us got together at the public library and we made a little flyer of some of our top concerns, and we created this group, Bears Who Care and Friends of Bears. We created this group because we wanted to include not just students and faculty, staff, alumni, and people at UNC, but also to include those of you who invest in our lives who aren't directly a part of UNC, but who are absolutely important in our own abilities to succeed as you might be parents, or you might be significant others or close friends of people who are involved in this campus. And when we put the page together, there were 6 of us clearly who started out, and within a week we had grown our numbers well up into close to 300 people, which was absolutely astounding to see happen. The reason that I think this is really important, and before I go into some of the things that make up specifically Bears Who Care, I want to give a little bit of backdrop. In the the Chronicle of Higher Education, an article came forward recently, and it was talking about an epidemic of student disconnection. Professors are reporting in record numbers that students are checked out, stressed out, unsure of their future. They are defeated, exhausted, and overwhelmed. They are needing to be seen and heard and talk about experiences. They've been afraid and terrified for 2 years now, and it keeps getting worse. We assumed that last year's students would have had the hardest impact of the last years of pandemic, but this year's cohort, as best as it can be said, is seen to be as resigned. The reason that I bring this up is that our movement started just before finals. Just a few weeks before finals, as students were pulling together the best that they had left after a really crazy and traumatic year where we're coming out of the pandemic, but are we? We're watching ourselves face a world war that is absolutely inconceivable and terrifying. We're in the midst of political unrest and disturbances of a massive scale. And here at UNC, we're comprised mostly of students who have various significant risk factors, whether those be socioeconomic risk factors, or whether we look at the fact of what it is to be a person of color or a first gen, or somebody who is coming through their identity and orientation. We're not a group of people who are the most privileged and advantaged group. So to see that out of that, a group of people could begin to inspire our campus is indeed remarkable to me. When we had our first rally and people came and we saw that the press showed up and community members showed up and people from not even just in Greeley, but people from nearby cities drove over to support us. We knew at that point that we were on to something really important and crucial for our institution. But over the next couple of weeks, we began to dive deeply as a team who founded this and realized that this isn't just happening here at UNC. This is a national epidemic in which administration is consistently undermining very valuable things to our institution, such as humanities and social sciences. The importance of humanities and social sciences isn't just that they are a foundation of liberal arts, but it's that they are a gatekeeper and an access point for people to transcend the boundaries of classism, racism, sexism, all kinds of embedded institutional ways that people are kept from their full access of potential. And it's in those places, in the liberal arts, in the humanities, that we learn to critically think, that we learn to access peers who can share like-mindedness with us, that we evolve to be the best that we can in terms of keeping the democracy that makes this country a great country. So to see the cuts being made across the board to humanities and to the faculty within the humanities and social sciences is something that we've realized isn't just needing to be fixed here at UNC, but on a much larger scale. So as to who Bears Who Care and Friends of Bears are, first and foremost, we're here at UNC tirelessly raising our voices and our presence to make known that this administration needs to meet with us at the table and talk to us and collaborate on better decisions moving forward. I believe that the decisions that were made were not even well-founded, well-grounded. I've struggled at times because I wonder how much those decisions have been made with any criteria or just in a reactionary way based on numbers without any compelling and surrounding data, without any rich context, without any qualitative understanding, or even looking at the impact that these cuts have made. So we are inviting the administration to meet with us, to work with us, to come in a way that is visible. So the page has done everything that we can to live stream as much as we can, to go into meetings, to do activities of talking the walk and things that we can do to help raise awareness within the student body and within the community. As to who we are, the thing that is just absolutely beautiful, beautiful to me is this. We are now 464 members in 5 different countries. In our demographics, we are also looking at the fact that we are made up primarily of 18 to 24-year-olds, followed by 25 to 34-year-olds. Let's go back to the fact that this is a generation on record as deeply disconnected, and yet over half of our participants are from that same generation. So this must matter. This is a group of people who figured out how to stay in touch during a pandemic using amazing technological tools that my generation has no idea how to tap into, and we ought not underestimate them. We need to recognize that it has been on the backs of youth that many social changes have gained traction and really come into fruition. It took one place, Kent State, to spark a national conversation that would help bring attention to the problems with the Vietnam War. It took a small group of dedicated students to sit in at a lunch counter. It took one woman on a bus not taking the back seat. It can take a small but mighty and dedicated group when that group is a spark that ignites a bonfire. Bears Who Care and Friends of Bears, we started out as a spark, and we're a beautiful and resonant flame. We invite you to continue following us all summer as we continue the work that we've started. Thank you.